Are you ready for a thrilling tale of heists, high-stake pursuits, and heroic officers? Look no further than the story of James, a criminal mastermind who successfully stole $1 billion in less than 10 minutes. But how did he do it? And how did Chief Huang and his team manage to bring James to justice? From a chance encounter on the day of a police interview to a dramatic showdown in the subway tunnels, this is the story of a heist that shook the city and the brave officers who refused to back down. So buckle up and get ready for a wild ride as we delve into the daring heist that had everyone talking. While Yoon Joo, a woman with a photographic memory, was following a man on a bus, observing his every move. James, a professional and highly intelligent criminal with expertise in evading surveillance systems and executing high-risk crimes with a specialized team, accidentally bumped into her. However, since Yoon Joo was too engrossed in her surveillance of the man, she didn't notice James. When the bus arrived at a local station, the man got off and Yoon Joo continued to follow him as he walked through the streets. The man pretended to talk on the phone while Yoon Joo kept a close eye on him. The man entered a restaurant and Yoon Joo followed suit. However, her cover was blown and the man became angry, questioning why she had been following him since the subway. It was then revealed that the man was actually Chief Detective Huang, a specialist in surveillance and identifying criminals and fraudsters. His division didn't apprehend criminals, but instead gathered information by following them closely. To Yoon Joo's surprise, Chief Huang was actually testing her observation and memorization skills as part of her job interview. Meanwhile, James went to a nearby building to set up an explosion that would distract the police and firefighters, enabling him and his team to execute their mission of robbing a bank. He waited for the perfect moment when the sun would rise and reflect on the CCTV cameras. Once the explosion occurred, he directed his team's movements from the rooftop and ordered them to begin their operation. However, things didn't go as planned when one of the team members became greedy and tried to steal more money than agreed upon. The team nearly got caught, but they managed to complete their mission and fled the scene in a getaway car while being chased by the police. Another accomplice, who was a truck driver, also helped his friends escape by clashing with the police cars. After successfully escaping the scene, Chief Huang and Yoon Joo returned to the restaurant. There, Chief Huang asked her to provide a detailed account of everything she had observed and memorized while following him. Using her photographic memory, Yoon Joo described every detail from their time on the bus to the restaurant. However, she hit a roadblock when Chief Huang asked about the newspaper he was carrying. Yoon Joo struggled to recall what had happened after he dropped it. With some encouragement from Chief Huang to mentally replay the scenario, Yoon Joo eventually remembered that a young boy sitting next to her had picked up the newspaper and taken it with him. Satisfied with the results, Chief Huang continued the interview process. As the night fell, Chief Huang delivered some exciting news to Yoon Joo. She landed a job in his division. But while the robbers were busy dividing their loot, James made a brutal move to silence a greedy partner. With no time to waste, he burned their getaway van and disappeared without a trace. Despite their best efforts, Chief Huang's team couldn't find a shred of evidence to track down the robbers. But James wasn't done yet. His boss had a new mission for him. He had to infiltrate an accounting corporation and steal their most valuable files. Will James succeed, or will his luck finally run out? In the meantime, Chief Huang and his team had been tirelessly searching for the truck driver who aided the robbers. Finally, they spotted him at a corner store near the bank. The chief swiftly ordered his staff to gather his full details. Just then, Yoon Joo arrived for her first day at work, and Chief Huang introduced her to their department head Lee. Like all her other teammates, Yoon Joo was given an animal code name. While she preferred the noble-sounding reindeer, Chief Huang wanted her to take the name Piglet. After the introductions, Chief Huang led them to meet the surveillance team, who had their own code names: Sloth, Monkey, Mole, Viper, Parrot, Ostrich, and Squirrel. Following a briefing, the team went undercover to chase the truck driver, who they nicknamed Hippo. Will they catch him and unravel the mystery behind the bank robbery? As the team split up and went in their assigned directions, Chief Huang set up his van with small-scale maps of Seoul's different regions. With a bird's-eye view of his officer's location at all times, he was able to keep things running smoothly and efficiently. Meanwhile, back in his apartment, James was already planning his next mission. His signature move was to stay behind the scenes and watch the action unfold from various rooftop perches. With mathematical precision, he meticulously planned out every detail of the heist, this time stealing crucial accounting files from a major corporation. On the other hand, Chief Huang and his officers had been tirelessly searching the city streets for weeks, keeping an eye out for anyone who matched Hippo's physical description. Meanwhile, James and his team successfully completed their second mission, packing up their equipment on a rooftop. But while on the roof, James noticed a man photographing him from a nearby building. Fearing the worst, he immediately went to confront the man and brutally killed him with a knife to avoid being caught. Elsewhere, Department Head Lee received a call from her superior about the robbery at the accounting firm. Furious with Chief Huang for not uncovering any information about the previous case, she lashed out at him for not investigating it more thoroughly. While undercover one night, Yoon Joo witnesses a group of thugs bullying a poor family for their money. Despite being a surveillance officer, she can't stand by and watch as the men threaten to kill each family member. Yoon Joo intervenes and manages to fight off two of the men before being held back by the third. Luckily, Chief Huang arrives and rescues her. But afterwards, he reminds Yoon Joo that their only duty is to track targets with their eyes and feet, and not to directly intervene in a case even if lives are at risk. As James yearns to break free from his dangerous profession, he turns down his boss's mission. Enraged, the boss orders a hit on James, but he emerges victorious. Despite his initial refusal, James eventually takes the files for one last mission. In his apartment, he receives a phone call confirming his passport for a plan to flee the country. Meanwhile, Yoon Joo realizes they've been tracking Hippo in the wrong areas. She informs Chief Huang, and they go undercover to search for him. While following Hippo, Yoon Joo becomes distracted by a disaster at a local shop. However, she manages to track him down to a nearby apartment and confirms Hippo's location. Chief Huang assigns Squirrel to install hidden cameras outside Hippo's apartment, which he successfully does. Meanwhile, James embarks on his final mission to infiltrate the server room of the stock exchange and plant software as requested by a mysterious broker. He acquires the IP address and relays the plan to Chief Huang, while Huang's officers monitor Hippo's behavior, patiently waiting for any lead on the bank robbery case. As the department head, Lee calls upon the chief to investigate the crime scene of the photographer's murder. The chief uncovers that the photographer was mistakenly killed for infiltrating James' second mission. James, the leader, operates from the rooftop, overseeing his team's work. Meanwhile, Yoon Joo and Chief Huang scour through Hippo's garbage for clues and stumble upon torn pieces of a Sudoku puzzle. However, the numbers seem incorrect. Upon scanning the computers, they find the numbers from the IP address of the stock exchange. The next day, the officers track Hippo and witness him meeting with his fellow bank robbers to discuss their next mission. Squirrel is able to capture photos of them and hack into their communication devices, identifying all 6 criminals except for their leader, James. The department head Lee and other office personnel work to track down James's location, while Chief Huang and Yoon Joo quickly follow James. James reaches the rooftop of a building as his men head towards the stock exchange for the heist. Upon seeing Chief Huang's officers waiting to arrest his men, James quickly orders them to abort the mission before running down the stairs. As Chief Huang and Yoon Joo close in on James, he was left with no other option but to smash a window with a fire extinguisher and make a daring escape. Meanwhile, James's men engaged in a deadly fistfight with the police and ultimately met their demise, with the remaining members getting arrested. Determined to catch James, Department Head Lee and her team traced his phone's location and relayed the information to Chief Huang and Yoon Joo. The two set out to track down the elusive leader, but struggled to get a proper sight of him. Finally, Yoon Joo manages to get a closer view of James as she followed him through a narrow alleyway. However, James managed to spot the undercover officers and made a run for it. Later, while on the street, Yoon Joo caught a glimpse of James once again, but this time he was with Squirrel, who was undercover as a traffic police officer. Squirrel promised to try and get James's ID and approached him to ask for it, but James realized he was an undercover officer and silently punctured Squirrel's neck with a sharp pen. A devastated Yoon Joo immediately went for help, but in the process she lost track of James. Later, at the hospital, Chief Huang and Yoon Joo anxiously awaited outside the emergency room, where one of the nurses confirmed that Squirrel had tragically passed away due to massive blood loss. Meanwhile, James faced harsh criticism from his boss for his incompetence and failure to complete the mission. In a fit of rage, he attacked his boss's hideout, mercilessly murdering both the boss and his bodyguards. After acquiring a fake passport, James was all set to leave South Korea behind. Back in Seoul, Chief Huang and Yoon Joo were left devastated by the tragic loss of their colleague. As a result, the chief announced his resignation, and Yoon Joo took a leave of absence. However, while doing her laundry, Yoon Joo suddenly remembered something from her exceptional memory. She had randomly run into James in the past. On the day of her police interview, James had briefly bumped into Yoon Joo while boarding a bus, carrying a brochure from a local grocery store. Yoon Joo immediately springs into action and heads to the store, determined to keep James in sight. She manages to track him to a restaurant and follows him inside. As James gets his food, he confronts Yoon Joo for following him, but she remains composed and discreetly sends an urgent text to Chief Huang. In the midst of their exchange, James notices Chief Huang entering the restaurant. Upon catching a glimpse of the chief in a mirror the day before while being followed in the alley, James immediately recognizes him. He rushes to the parking lot, leaving Yoon Joo behind, but Chief Huang takes over the pursuit. However, James stabs Chief Huang from behind. Though the injury isn't fatal, it brings the chase to a halt. Shortly after, Yoon Joo arrives at the scene only to receive orders from the chief to continue the pursuit into the subway tunnels. Unfortunately, James recognizes her and takes her hostage. Meanwhile, the department head Lee calls in a SWAT team for backup. Once the SWAT team arrives, they corner James in the subway tunnel, finally putting an end to his criminal reign. As the chase continues, James breaks free from Yoon Joo's grasp and runs deeper into the subway tunnels. With the SWAT team closing in, he finds himself cornered between them and Chief Huang guarding the exit, who risked his life to be there despite his injuries. In a daring move, James charges towards the chief, who stands his ground as an oncoming train approaches. With only seconds to react, Chief Huang takes a risky shot at James, knowing that it could either take him down or put him in the path of an oncoming train. In a stroke of luck, the train takes a different route, and Chief Huang manages to shoot James with his revolver, bringing him down instantly. Emboldened by the success, Huang withdraws his resignation. Later on, the officers don their formal attire and attend Squirrel's funeral, marking the end of an era. And after that, Chief Huang and Yoon Joo embark on a new mission, pursuing an international terrorist who turns out to be James's accomplice. The story of James and his gang of robbers may have ended tragically, but the bravery and determination of Chief Huang, Yoon Joo, and the rest of the officers who pursue them is a true testament to the courage of law enforcement. Through their efforts, justice was ultimately served, and the officer who lost her life in the line of duty will always be honored. The pursuit of James and his accomplices was just one of many challenges that Chief Huang and Yoon Joo faced in their mission to protect and serve their community. But with their skills, bravery, and dedication, there's no doubt that they will continue to make a positive impact on the world. With that said, thank you for watching. Be sure to hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for more. And if you found this content helpful, give the video a like. See you in the next video. Till then, take care.